welcome back to Perspectives with Sherry. This is part 2 of my amazing interview with Dr. Shweta Patel. Let's get into it. Now, the next thing I want to ask you, and you talked about the testosterone in the pellet form. A lot of ladies, there's a lot of buzz about the pellets, the hormone, the pellets that they put in the back. I've had a couple of coworkers talk about it. It's like all the buzz, and you can get it done at a spa versus in a doctor's appointment, apparently.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the pellet?
Oh my God, I love them. They made me so much money.
Okay.
And that's where I end with that.
Okay.
So the reality is I did them because it was encouraged in my former life when I was working for the man. And I hadn't started my startup yet, and I wasn't working for myself and making decisions purely based on, what I consider to be like medical decisions for women's wellness overall. And so what we were encouraged to use BH or bioidentical hormone treatment in the form of pellets. And I was just thrilled that we were even giving this to women as an option. So for me, like whatever that vehicle was at that time, I was still the renegade that was offering it versus the others who were like, bioidentical, like none of that's real. And I was like, excuse me, like I've had a clitoral experience to prove otherwise. It's real. But so bioidentical hormone is just it's in a form that's more receptive for your body to utilize.
Okay.
So the way I would explain it to my patients is like when you are eating, like let's say you go grab a slice of pizza because you're starved. You're not likely to feel satisfaction from that slice of pizza if you rub it on your cheek.
True that.
Right? So, or if somebody was to turn it even into a smoothie and then make you slurp it up or like kind of give it to you down a tubing, like wouldn't be the same.
No,
even if it's the same, it wouldn't be. And so that's kind of like the delivery method does impact how much it works or how it's received. That being said, you don't need to have a gourmet slice of pizza every time you're hungry either. And that's something that I feel like gets lost in the translation of the pellets. Because the pellets, yes, the impact is very real, but they're very difficult to control because how your body metabolizes that pellet is different for every woman, and it's even different for the woman within each pellet. So I've had women come to me and be like, I don't know, there's something wrong with this pellet. It's not working as well. And it's like, same batch, like it, it also is a procedure that requires an incision. And so if you're cool with having like a maybe 3 millimeter stab incision in your butt cheek every couple of months.
Not for me.
I mean, some people deal with back knee and butt knee, and this is a whole different thing. This is like just little stab scars. And you could try to just go through the same one, but like that becomes scarred at some point. So the ability for it to really get absorbed, right? So the advantage is that you just place it once and then you're not taking a pill every day. You're not worrying about slapping on a cream, and you kind of just naturally get to pretend like that's your testosterone level. Except if the dose was too low, you might have to come back and get like another one put in to top it off.
Okay.
Or worse, if it's too high and then you're stuck with this like little, atomic testosterone time bomb in your butt cheek that's like making you break out, and you can't remove it, right? So you got to like figure out ways to like metabolize it faster. There are, but it's just, like I said, it's a very imprecise art.
Got it.
Which is why eventually I was like, okay, there is an advantage to having other ways of using testosterone. And I think that doing something like sublingual or topical, even though it might not be as potent, but I mean, it's sometimes a little bit more practical. And I think for the purposes that we want it, like we want that extra edge in our metabolism, we want that extra edge in our libido. We don't want to become like pubertal boy that wants to rub one out every couple of hours.
Right.
So we could probably be just fine with some topical. And there are new concoctions that make it so that the absorption is so good that like it's just as effective, but without all the, ragdoll butt cheek incisions. So testosterone, yes, but pellets, sure, if that's what you want. Is that the only way? No, I think you can probably find a Goldilocks recipe for yourself with topical creams just the same.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. All right. So now let's talk about a little bit about how women can advocate for themselves a little better when they go to their doctor appointments. I know myself, wasn't very good at it. Like I said, once I talked to you, I was like, well, wait a minute, Sherry, you you need to take a proactive stance and stop like flying off the handle with your mood swings, burning into flames every other day, turn into like a river at night with the night sweats. Just stop it already. If there's something that you can do, go do it and speak up for yourself. So,
Yes.
right. So, um,
Don't thug it
we
out.
what?
Don't
It's
thug it out.
right, right. So, okay, like, because we feel a lot of times women feel very dismissed, very unheard. What are some ways that we can advocate, like, must ask questions we should bring with us to the gynecologists, or what are some ways that we can better advocate so that we can get the treatment that we need, that we can be seen and heard?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I would say, like, and this is going to be something that we won't cover fully because of just time and the depth of this topic. And it's sad that that's the reality, but I have an entire chapter for that reason in the book dedicated
Yes,
to this,
yes.
because it is such uh, it's like kind of navigate. It's a diplomatic art
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to be the person that makes the person that's caring for you feel like you don't trust them or value them.
Right,
It's actually just like talking to a spouse, right? Like it's like you want to approach them about a concern you have without putting them on defense,
right,
without losing their desire to advocate for you, while
right,
also maybe bringing to their attention that they could be perhaps doing a better job. Um, and what it starts with is first knowing what a better job looks like, which again, back in the day, like we'd be like, well, I shouldn't need to know. And I did a talk recently in our local community, and so many women were like, I got to figure out what I have to ask for in labs and da, da, da. I'm like, no, you don't. And you can also just keep feeling the way you do.
and that part.
Like, it sucks that we sometimes do have to take the wheel. But girl, let's be honest, we've been doing that all the time anyways, and you were gonna if you weren't anyways. So let's not pretend like this is really that hard for you. Okay.
Right.
But when it comes to that doctor-patient relationship, it has been fractured for many reasons by people other than the patient and the doctor. And I firmly believe this. When doctor and patient are left alone, you get that like, old country like bond
Mhm.
where they know shit about you that you even forgot, and you can tell them stuff you can't tell anybody else. And that is the kind of culture that like led doctors to go into medicine, and I believe that and that is the vision I have that we will come back to.
Mhm.
um but that's not what we are right now, and
Right,
unfortunately, um not all physicians have the luxury of creating that environment in their bubble when they
right,
work in a system that's otherwise counterproductive to that.
right,
It's why I left that system and created my own company. Um, and so when you're advocating for yourself, I think it's very important first that you make it so that it's easy to then help you. And what I mean by that is like, if you don't know what you need
mhm,
and you are wanting your physician to help you when they're time constrained, they are working within a system that's not there to make it easy for them to help you.
right,
Um, then the reaction and response you may get, unfortunately, is not very supportive. And that'll then go on to continue to fracture that relationship with the very person that can help you. Right. And so what you can do is come prepared, with a list. I know it's like, oh no, not a list, but yes, because a list is better than someone sitting there and being like, well, I really, and there was like one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, but like my thing is kicking in where I can't remember things. And then that was actually, I think that was another one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, but I can't remember the third thing. Right. So like if we were to put ourselves in the opposite shoe, like even our patients would be like, oh my God, I'm already behind. And this person could be giving me the version of the story that's going to let me know what's going on, but they're telling me their like neighbor's daughter's zodiac sign. So that's not very helpful. But come with a list so that you can stay structured, just like if you were going to a meeting. How about this? Treat it like if you were going to talk to a coworker about a concern and you want it to be professional and structured and constructive, right? How would you go in with that? You would go in with like bulleted things that you wanted to make sure you addressed. Yes. You would address it with a tone that would be considerate, and you would ask for what you thought was what you needed, but then you would also ask for input on perhaps what their thoughts were, right? Like a standard open communication exchange. Yes. And I think in that scenario, there's room for that relationship to prosper and the physician to be like, wow, that was amazing. Oh my God, I can help you. And you just reminded me that. And not only just reminded me that, you reminded me that I should probably be bringing that up myself. So now I'm going to really make sure that I don't forget to do this, because I really want to make sure that I'm a good physician. And I think I forgot what that's about. And like, holy crap, I'm really just caught in this hamster wheel. Thank you for reminding me why I even became a doctor. Well, this is not about me. It's about you. Okay. But, so I think like knowing kind of it beforehand, what you want to talk about. And that just can be simply just having your symptoms that you're concerned about. Mm-hmm. And then the other part is knowing what is the standard that you can expect. So for instance, so many women will experience this where they go to the doctor for their annual. And then I'll ask them, oh, so have you had a pap smear? And they're like, well, yeah, I had my annual last year. And I'm like, sure. But do you remember if you had a pap smear done as well? And they're like, what is this? Why is she like, am I talking Japanese? I said I had my annual. And so that is those like the used synonymously when it's not, kind of, you know, an annual exam versus a pap smear versus STD screening versus blood work. What do those things entail? And no, I don't expect women to know that, but that's why I've included it in like the book, is that if you know what standard of care is for someone in your age group and your gender, then you can also be like, I wanted to talk today about these things. Well, today is your annual exam, and you'll need to come back for that because today's a visit for your annual exam. Well, actually, doctor, my annual exam, I'm already up to date with my pap smear. I got my mammogram done. I forwarded my results to you, and they were normal, just in case you were wondering. My blood work, I already have my orders, and I'm going to get it done next week. So really, we don't have anything else left to discuss for my annual. I really did, however, want to talk to you about HRT. Love that. And if you need any more help, just bring a copy of my book and be like, have you read this chapter? It's like, that's totally what you need to read. Because, and again, it's like, because they're on that machine line, right? Like they're like, must stay on track, must get home to my own life, kids, family, must not fail at like the balance thing, that thing people talk about called life balance. And must not let a patient die, for sure. And meanwhile, Miss Smith is trying to tell me about her nephew's like foot surgery.
Yes.
And how she's worried that she might have the same kind of bone problem because she might have osteoporosis, and I don't get the correlation and my brain just shut down. I'm not even going to talk to her about osteoporosis, even though she is actually at risk and should be on vitamin D, but I didn't talk to her about it. Yeah. So
doctors have a tough job. I mean, they do. Y'all do.
We signed up for it. We know we did. I think that that's why women, being the superior species, they could use their powers of persuasion to
Mhm.
better handle how that experience goes. And no, they don't need to have a pelvic exam every visit.
Mhm.
No, they don't need to have a pap smear every visit. No, they don't need to come to the office to get things like a mammogram order and blood work orders. They can actually get them done in advance and show up to the office with results so that they can actually ask questions. And if
Mm.
somebody tells you otherwise, they're just doing that thing. They're in robot mode. And you can say,
Yeah.
I know you work hard, and I'm sure that this is very challenging for you, but I'd like to understand why you think what I'm asking for is not okay.
Okay. All right.
And if there isn't any reason, then I'd like for you to go ahead and give me what I want because I'm used to getting it that way, bitch. So go ahead.
Okay.
You can exclude that part. The last part,
Yeah, yeah, let's yeah, yeah.
that's just when you're talking to your friend and you're recanting the story and you could be like, and
Right,
that's
add a
not
little
it.
that's it, add a little
Now, like,
sauce on the story, yeah.
that's what
Right, right,
happened.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
don't do that with your actual doctor.
Don't do
Yeah,
that with the actual front desk lady. She's gonna kick your butt.
right. Okay, well, now let's take a pivot and talk about your amazing book. Yes.
Ooh.
I wanna know
Oh my goodness.
what inspired you to write the Book of Hormones, and what's the core message you want women to walk away with? I know what I walked away with, but I wanna know what your intent was.
Yes. Um, empowerment. That was the core
Yes.
message.
Yes.
And I think that for both the physician to remember to convey, and for the woman to remember to have a goal to acquire, right? Like that
Mhm.
is your right to have when you
Yes.
leave a doctor's office. It is your right to feel empowered. That's not entitlement. uh Entitlement is being like, I've been waiting for 5 minutes and I haven't been seen. Like, well, that even sometimes that happens on the highway, right? Like, I've been waiting for five
Right,
minutes and I haven't moved. Like, sometimes life like that happens. But
right.
empowerment, no, you should not come into a doctor's office and walk out feeling more confused, less supported, and even less likely to be healthier than you came in. Because if that's the case, then yeah, you shouldn't have come in. And as a
Yeah.
physician, for me to say that, like, that's kind of like, I hope I don't get mugged at the parking lot because, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no,
Yeah.
we can't just tell patients that they need to do certain things and then we don't show up for them to help them do
Mhm.
it. Right.
Yes. Right.
Um, and the book is for that. It's obviously it's about hormonal balance because when I think about like one of the core things in health, um, it's hard to not recognize the power of hormones, right?
Mhm.
Like, they literally are the fabric of our well-being. And um in every way, like, I mean, we talked about estrogen and testosterone and progesterone, but the book is in 400 pages because we talked about three of them, right? There's so
Yeah.
many. And I
There's so
like
many
got
more.
into that weird phase where I was like, I need to include all of them.
It
And
is
like,
so good. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're a nerd girl like me that you like
I
that because I was like,
I
oh my
did.
God.
No, I
Um,
learned so much. I learned so much, and that's why it's important. I mean, you're walking around and you don't realize, I mean, it's your own body, and you have no
right.
idea. I'm like, that doesn't oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know there was a correlation between that and that, and it's a
Yes.
shame, right?
Yes. And
So,
the like I was saying before, like, so many of our hormones that don't even get the recognition of hormones. Like, it's like vitamin D, that's a hormone, girl.
no, it's
And guess what?
eye-opening.
All hormones are birthed from this one villainous molecule called cholesterol. I mean, how much do we cringe when we hear the word cholesterol? It's not
Yeah,
even considered to be a vital nutrient. We all think it's something that ends up getting accidentally stuck in our like, plumbing drain. And it's like, no, we don't know. And we need to know more
yes,
in order to better take care of our health. Because then you can understand why having elevated cholesterol is bad, but even more
yes,
importantly, how elevated cholesterol happens. And no, it's not
yes.
from the chicken eggs you just ate. In fact, go ahead, girl, have those chicken eggs because cholesterol being elevated is not correlated with the cholesterol you're eating. It is correlated with the sugar in that dressing that you're eating and the salad that you thought was helping you with your cholesterol.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, wait, come again? I eat healthy. What are you talking about, Dr. Patel? I eat salads and just lean proteins. And then like, and I mean, yeah, I have like, and I'm very, just clean. I eat clean. And it's okay, yeah. Clean sugar? Yeah. Natural sugar, Dr. Patel. Pineapples and mangoes. Woo. Okay.
Yeah, she mentioned that in the book too, ladies.
Yeah. I mean, if it's natural, it must be good. You know what's natural? Cocaine is natural. Marijuana. Cyanide's very natural. So natural.
Point taken.
Right? So I wrote the book because I wanted to reach more women and to give them that sense of, you have this right to walk out with empowerment. And here's how you can ensure that it happens more than it doesn't. And I hope that with the knowledge in this book, you're able to secure that empowerment more than relying on the individual encounters that you may experience, over which I have no control. And then, of course, for everything else, there's Guy Wellness. Like, book a visit if you need. But eventually we'll get to a place in medicine where all doctors will return to that primary goal of empowering our patients with health, not just pulling them back from the edge of death or illness, but empowering them with health. And I think more and more of my colleagues are recognizing how far we've gotten away from that, and how far our culture here in this country specifically. I feel like I can finally say that without feeling bad, because like everybody's kind of really like got shade on our country right now. And best part is the whole world feels sad for us. Have you realized? Have you gone out of the country? Oh my God, it's hilarious. Even France is not mean anymore to us. Everyone's like, oh, you're an American? Oh, you cutie pie. Come here. Let me give you a hug. We're so sorry. And we're like, yeah. We heard that you guys are willing to pay us if we came here and moved here and bought a castle or something. We want to.
Yes.
But our society is very much on, there's no such thing as delayed anything. We want everything yesterday. We want it more than we want it more than the next guy. Double, triple. We want our money's worth. And so we eat more, we want more. We're using our bodies as receptacles of an ingrained level of scarcity that you just can't shake right now. And like we're all living out of this place of scarcity, and it's so sad because it's everywhere. It's like, buy bigger trucks, buy a bigger home, spend more money, earn more money, spend less time with family so that you can earn more money to then spend time with family in small controlled increments, and have large amounts of time and fun, and then go back to not being with family at all. And eat lots of food. Why? Because we spent money. Hunger, fear hunger. And so I think that we are the unhealthiest we've ever been, the most disconnected we've ever been, and the most isolated we've ever been. And but we've got Disney World, so that's good. I forgot my thought. Like my perimenopause kicked in, and I forgot why I was even on this little tirade. But all I remember is I wasn't wrong. I was like, but why was I saying?
You totally were wrong.
Anybody else remember why I was even saying any of this? Well, anyway, so yeah. How about that Oprah article?
Yeah. Yes. No, you were making some really good points about why you wrote the book, how you wanted women to walk away with feeling empowered after reading the book.
Yes,
And
there you go. That's what it was. Yep, yep.
it was, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Um,
honestly, your goal, that's how I felt after reading it.
Good.
I
Yay.
honestly, yes, I felt empowered. I felt my wealth of knowledge has grown. And it's a book that you can go back to and refer. I mean, you read it and it's enjoyable. It's not like, how some of the books are so medical that it just feels like you're reading from a
A
journal or
journal.
right, right. And it's not like that. It's like having, like I said, literally like having a conversation with a bestie that just so happens to be a genius with women's health.
There
And I
you
mean,
go. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I mean, honestly, it covered everything. So it's like the book that you can give your 12-year-old daughter that just started her period and she needs information and she can keep that book through all phases of life.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's what I wanted
Guiding
it
and
to
being a
be.
woman. Yes, that's what it was. So you did that. Yes, you did. You
Yeah.
did your big one.
Yeah,
It was great.
I was like, maybe I should just make it about menopause. And I was like, oh, don't lose your audience because you're trying to include everything. But like, I really did want it to be something that like a mom could be reading and chuckling. And then the daughter comes up and says, what are you chuckling about? And, she's going through
Mhm.
puberty. So she's all like tween mode and snarky. And mom actually is like, oh, I was just reading about how you would be this way. And now I know how I'm going to
Yes.
respond to you. And then they can bond over it. And then
It's
when,
great.
she's older and going through pregnancy, like it's yeah, it stays with you because
Hmm.
that is what hormones are. That's like the one common denominator that we go through for every stage of our life. And
Hmm.
same players, but how they change our experience, it's like
Right.
tremendous.
It's
So,
amazing. It is amazing.
thank
All right,
you.
now yes, ma'am. I got to give you your flowers. You did a great job with that. I really enjoyed your book. And I will tell all my friends, all of those listening and watching me, you need to get the book. And we're going to, those that listen on the audio podcast, it will be in the show notes. I've got some things in the ticker, but I will also make sure to pin all that information so you will have it. Get the book. Okay.
Yes, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I wanted to give away 10 free books to your audience. That
Okay.
you Yeah. 10 free bucks. And to anybody who wants to download the book, the digital version, that's unlimited. Whoever wants it can ask for it, but 10 free paperbacks. So
Amazing.
all they have to do is reach out to you to reach out to me, and I'll make it happen.
All right, ladies, you heard her. So go ahead and reach out and we'll get you that free copy of the book. You will not be sorry. You need that in your life. Trust me. All right. So now let's talk about Gaia Wellness.
Woo!
What made you start it and what makes it different from traditional care? There's a lot. So I'll let you.
And so I actually started Gaia for that very reason that I wrote the book. And I wrote the book almost as a way to maybe perhaps accelerate Gaia's reach.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like more women would understand the vision and the impact, the potential impact of Gaia, without necessarily having it be like a commercial for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
more like, this is, by the way, if you ever wanted me to be your doctor, I can be your doctor. Why? Because I created Gaia Wellness, and it breaks boundaries of location and um, you know time, and you can access your doctor wherever you go, because that's really how women, that's how they approach their healthcare. Like if it doesn't work into their life, it doesn't happen. And
Exactly.
so we needed to create a way to deliver healthcare to women that facilitates that. And that's what Gaia is. It's a virtual first platform for women's healthcare. What that means is everything that you could possibly need is first addressed virtually. And contrary to unpopular thought, not everything requires a in-person visit. Definitely not everything requires a tickling of your cervix. And so you can, very much get the care, conversation, and time that you need just with a phone call or a video call. And even if it may not be what completely resolves the issue, it can be the beginning of a plan that
Mm-hmm.
finally will have to then implement in person, which that conversation, I firmly believe, is what's missing in in-person care. And so I think
Yes.
this is
Yes.
my way of replenishing that. Gaia Wellness works with the existing providers that a woman may have. So if you have a doctor you love, this is not your this is not like the time where you have to abandon that relationship. We love being the supplement to an existing team. And what that basically means is you might need something and you might not be able to get in with your doctor. And we can see you and talk to you and explain to you what may be going on, help you get the orders you need, the labs, the imaging, the conversation. And then you can go to your doctor already equipped. And like it's like that conversation that we told you about with the chapter, and where you're advocating for yourself. You're like, well, I'm actually here because I know that I don't need a pap smear, but I do want to talk about why my hemoglobin A1C looks this bad. And the doctor
Right.
will be like, when did you get your labs done? What? But like you're there, you already have it, you already have had the discussion. And if there's something you need now in person, which again, like about maybe 20% of the women end up needing to come in person still, then you're prepared for a much better conversation that happens at a higher point.
Right.
And for everything else, like we literally can handle it virtually. In fact, most recently, within the past 12 months, the FDA has approved a mail-in pap, pap smear screening test. What? Uh-huh.
Wow.
Girl heard
Wow.
right. Thank you. So
Whoa.
like the one biggest thing, they're like, but what about the pap smear? And I'm like, yeah, well, just go ahead and spread your legs on the screen. No, it's not what we do at Gaia. But no, you don't need to go to the doctor for that either anymore. Obviously, there are
Nice.
exceptions. So this is for like the standard screening, not anybody who's had a history of an abnormal test before. But for like, for instance, your young woman who's like straight out of college and has never had a pap smear before, and she's like, great, I gotta go get checked under the hood, and
Yeah.
like or I want birth control, but I know they're gonna make me get a pap smear, like as if it's some kind of like thou shall not pass until you get this test. It doesn't have to be that way anymore, right? um
Right.
and what's also great is like the generation of kids, like our pandemic kids who have like sort of kind of forgotten how social skills work and like interacting with humans.
With real
Like
people, right?
they, yeah, this is like letting them get the care in a delivery form that they're used to. Like they're like, oh yeah, I want a birth control. Like, what's up? Chill. Oh my God, cool. Cap, Raz, Riz, whatever. And like, but now we're opening up care to different age groups that may have not sought it out. We're opening up care
Mm-hmm.
to women who are otherwise making themselves the last priority on their to-do list. And we're also opening up care to women who want to see a doctor, but there's no one around. Like they have to travel, in rural areas. They now have access to care for maternity and gynecologic needs and hormone and weight loss and behavioral health without having to go through the rigmarole of wait 3 weeks if you're lucky, drive an hour, and wait an hour
Yes.
in the exam room in a paper gown only to get 5 minutes. And so I that is why I started this company. We launched in 2022, and our most recent endeavor rather is we're leveraging AI. I know everybody's leveraging AI. What does that even mean? Half the time I don't even know, but hang on, I'm getting my power cord. We
Okay.
are leveraging AI so that we can actually deliver care asynchronously, 24 hours a day, meaning that if you are one of those women who are experiencing some kind of dysfunction or pain, or something happens and in the middle of the night you're up and you're like Googling urgent cares, or you're
Mm-hmm.
debating like, is this something I need to go to the ER for?
Oh God.
Um,
Yeah.
you can actually log on to Gaia wellness.org, And when our AI agent is deployed, you can log on to our platform and interact with our AI agent to discuss your concerns, um, develop a plan of care that then the agent will intelligently push to the on-call provider. The on-call provider is able to review everything and ensure that it is accurate, and then implement the plan within 2 hours so
That is
that you don't
amazing.
need to put on your pants.
That is
And
amazing.
yeah, you can just tell like the partner to get out of bed and go to the pharmacy and pick up all the stuff you need while you continue to work that heating pad.
Yeah, in
Um,
the comforts of your own home. I
yes.
mean, oh,
Or
yeah.
if you're traveling, right? Like so many
Oh,
women, I mean,
even
I
that.
think of like so many of us who are our work, we think our work means we don't get to care for ourselves, right? Like police officers, doctors, nurses, teachers. Like there's so many different professions where it's like, go to the doctor? That's during business hours. I can't do that.
Right.
I'm not taking a day off for a doctor's visit.
Yeah,
And so they're usually coming in when it's like something's falling off.
right.
And so flight attendants, pilots, like, I mean, when you're traveling, and you're not even in the vicinity of your trusted doctor team,
Right.
this is like having, your on-call doctor in your pocket. And um, it's not like iRobot. They're not going to take over the world. They're not replacing doctors. Um, I still would be nice to it. It's always nice to be
Well,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when they do take over, you don't want to be the one person they remember as like being the rude guy.
No.
Yeah. But it's going to be like when we started using email instead of using letters.
Right. Okay.
And
Okay.
we still needed people to write them. And we still
Right.
needed people to open and read them. But the
Exactly.
process of communicating grew exponentially. And that
Yes.
is the efficiency that I think AI does. Um, it's never going to be a replacement. It's always going to be a enhancement um, until it's becoming a replacement, and then we have to run. But until then,
Yes. Until then.
I think zombies will probably happen before that, so don't worry. So that is what Gaia Wellness is. It is a virtual first care platform for women's health where we offer integrative services, meaning we take a root cause approach. We're not just going to put on band-aids. We're actually going to get to know you deeply enough to be able to get to the root cause of what's going on so that you can stop having the issue, not just
Hmm.
stop having the issue that time.
Right.
Um, and we offer services in women's health, like gynecologic services, i.e., heavy periods, painful periods, for birth control, fertility. But we're also in the space of hormonal balance, perimenopause, menopause, as well as eventually maternity care, prenatal care, virtually,
Right.
and then of course our AI platform, which will allow for 24 hours, 7 days a week access to care and services.
Amazing. That is absolutely amazing. She is truly a trailblazer. She
Oh,
is. Yes. Trendsetter, trailblazer. That's amazing. So,
thank you.
ladies, yes. Thank you so much. At this point, I want you to talk about what exciting things you have going on. I mean, it's a great time to be Dr. Shweta Patel.
Oh my God, you're so funny. No, I mean, shoot, it is. It really is because I love myself so hard right now, and I swear to God, it took me 40 years to get to here, um, and I don't know, like maybe it's just me, but I feel like we spend so much time learning to be what we think everybody else expects us to be. And
Absolutely.
then fortunately, when we get that small window of opportunity to be what we need us to be, we do
Yes.
it so exponentially that we make up for time. At least that's how I feel.
Yes.
So if
I
anybody
think
is like,
so.
well, it's too late to think about myself, girl, no, go.
No, it's your
Go and
time.
don't even worry about putting down your beer. Put it down. It'll still be cold by the time you're back and you're a badass. Like, go.
That's it.
Um, and like it is such a great time to be in your 40s and your 50s. Like, holy cow. I was worried about this like time in my life. And I was like, oh no, life's going to end. Of course, I was 20 when I was saying that.
Well, yeah.
But it's just, even just for women in general, I feel like things aren't great, but they're turning and you can see it. They're turning.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's a great breath of fresh air to be
It
a
is.
woman in this day and age,
Mhm.
because to be a woman just yesterday still meant that things sucked and weren't even getting better. And now it's like things still suck, but at least they're starting to get better.
Trying to get
Um,
better. That's right.
yeah. And that's how I see it. I mean, I know there's so much still that needs to be improved, and that is life. But I'm very fortunate of the life that has uh, that's I've stumbled into at this point, intentionally, and of all the unintentional intentionals, right? Like, but what is exciting and going on right now? I know. I'm now, I guess, a cat mom. I
That's good.
I've been a dog mom for, I mean, I identify as a dog mom. I have had dogs all my life. I fostered dogs. And then my eldest, my OG dog, she was like
Uh-huh.
14. She passed six
Wow.
months ago. She don't
Oh,
even
I'm
feel bad. That
sorry.
girl was eating while she went. Like, she literally died the best death as well as lived the best life. So it
Okay.
still breaks my heart, but like, I'm so happy that I was able to give her the life she had. And I obviously like went through a moment where I was like, I hate humans and I want to move to Arkansas where there's no potential contact. And, in my mind, Arkansas is like that. I don't know if it actually is, but sorry for any Arkansans. I'm sure it's not that remote, but like in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to live in a cabin with my one remaining dog and I hate humans. Yes, former women's health advocate. And I was like, I don't want to be in
Right.
Arkansas. So I went to that for like all of November, and
Yeah.
then got out of it. But then my dog, I think my younger dog finally like was like, oh shit, she's not coming back. Damn, that bitch, she
Yeah.
took off and she really is good.
Yeah.
And he was so sad. It was like breaking my heart all over
Oh,
again. So I got him a kitten.
okay.
And it's
It
not like we're
works.
besties,
They're not
but
besties.
you know what? His brain's not turning into mush anytime soon. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's
Good.
exciting. I am working on a second
Yes.
book
Yes.
of
Yes.
pregnancy. So that was like the one chapter I'd written in the book of hormones. And I was like, okay, I just can't. This is like a joke. I'm not going to include everything I could possibly want. So I
Right.
am working on the second book, and it's now become a 3-book series. So the second book is called, in line with the original, it's called The Book of Pregnancy. And it's the ultimate playbook for having an empowered pregnancy, labor, and postpartum journey.
Love it. Hmm.
And then the third book is called The Book of Down Under,
Okay.
the ultimate playbook for having a healthy vulvirament between your lips.
It's very catchy.
The pun game is strong in this one, as
It
it is in
really
the book too.
is.
And
Yeah.
so is the dad joke game. Um, and I have taken on, like I said, the building of an AI agent. So that's that.
Hmm.
And just all the things, like anything and everything that is a potential way to reach more women. So I am doing speaking engagements and traveling more. So it's just exciting. It's exciting. It
It's
feels
very
like I'm like,
exciting.
I'm living my purpose, and I'm not like gaining weight doing it. So I'm really excited about that. So
Girl, that's living your best,
yeah,
best life right there.
yeah. Except for the hair, like, and the hot flashes and night sweats that have kicked in, but I'm getting that corrected ASAP. Don't you worry.
I
Getting
believe you will.
getting me some estradiol like as of next week at some point.
Absolutely. There you go. There you go. There you go. All
But
right.
yeah,
So how can we find you on social? Drop your socials.
all of them. So my personal Instagram is the virtual gyno, or the virtual GYNO, all one. And then the Instagram for Gaia Wellness is Gaia GAYA underscore wellness, WELLNESS. You can find us on Facebook as well. And then you can find out more about my book on Instagram, separate handle, which is the BOH series, or the Book of Her series, which incorporates all 3 books.
Okay.
And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm most active on LinkedIn and Instagram, but you can also find my link tree on Instagram, which will have my email and phone number. So you can literally call me up and be like, "What up, girl?" And I'll be like, "Sup, yo."
There you go. There you have it, y'all. So I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for lending us your time, your expertise, your wealth of knowledge, your wit. It has been an
You're so
absolute
sweet.
blast. Yes, I
Thank
have
you.
thoroughly enjoyed this. Yes.
Likewise, this has been fun.
It's been a lot of
We were
fun.
recording though, right? You did press record.
I did press record. The brain fog didn't keep me from pressing record, girl. This is all duly recorded.
Just
Yes.
checking, making sure,
Yeah, you got to check on your girl. Yes. But yes, it has been amazing. It has been fun. And for all of you that are watching and listening, I know that you have learned a lot. I know you've laughed with us. And again, get the book of Hormones, the Ultimate Playbook. Yes,
get it on Amazon, or you can reach out to Sherry and get your free copy.
Reach out to me. I got you. All right. Any last words, Dr. Patel?
No, go get yourself healthier, women. Be your badass, hot, glorious, juicy, glowy selves.
Love it.
Don't wait. Now is the time.
Now is the time, ladies. All right. As always, thank you for listening and tuning in. And remember, continue to feed your health, build your wealth, and walk in your power. Until next time. Yes. Bye, ladies.